Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're getting back to work on the car after a very, very disappointing race. I mean, I can take disappointment when it comes to being stuck on the outside, but not when it's from my own hands. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. Subscription is not a paid subscription. It is literally just a follow button. It's a click of a mouse. It helps me a boatload when it comes to Google and their algorithm because they own YouTube, and maybe they can pay me more for my intellectual property someday. Either way, if you know anybody who would like this sort of thing, send them my way. So we're getting back to work on the car after, like I said, a disappointing run. We finished 8th, but at the same time, we shouldn't have. That was the second furthest forward we'd started all season long, and because of something that I did to try to learn something about setup, that failed horribly. We didn't finish there or even compete. Now, if we had the car I had the 2 weeks prior, maybe we could have done something with it. Probably not, considering the competition, but at least we could have tried. Either way, this entire car is getting blown apart right now, and I think I found a recurring problem. Remember how in the last few weeks that seal on the front hub kept blowing out? I put a brand new one in, brand new, packed some grease in it and everything, and it popped out again. Even hammered in really cleanly. What I think is happening is something else though. This is an old school thing. That cap, this dust cap, is like a billet solid machined piece of aluminum that bolts straight to the hub, right? What we used to do back in the day was we used to drill a very small needle-like sized hole in the cap, because we used to use stock caps and we just hammer them on. Oh, I already spilled everything out of this. Something like this. This is for my Camaro hubs. And we used to just drill a hole in it, really small hole, just to let the air out. Because I think what's happening is the hubs are starting to get warm at the end of races, and they're pressurizing, and they're popping the hub steel out. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to drill very small holes in those hub caps, and hopefully we don't have to hammer in that damn seal anymore. Aside from the annoying problems, we're going to dig into this car on all 4 corners. Not only does it need maintenance, like an oil change and all sorts of other stuff, but it needs all 4 springs changed. It needs shocks changed. It needs the sway bar changed. It needs everything changed. This car is getting a complete overhaul. We're going to plan C. I think I mentioned that at the end of the last video, but that's what we're doing. The setup we're going to use now is, in my opinion, a good combination of both of the ones that I've used this year. The first setup that we won with, that we ran a lot of the beginning part of the year, was very good on entry and center. It was very fast on its own, but in traffic and driving off the corner, it was a handful because you couldn't throw the throttle all the way down. It did not have that drive that I needed. The current setup that's in the car is kind of the opposite. It was a little tight on entry, but it was really good in traffic, and you could absolutely hammer the gas and drive under anybody you wanted to. It was awesome. This setup that we're going to, because I'm really done experimenting, I really am. We got 5 races left, barring any rainouts. I'm going back to a tried and true setup. This is a setup that I won a bunch of races at Thompson with. I've tried it at Stafford a handful of times and had success. So you know what? Right back in the car. Well, that's back to straight enough, I guess. It's not straight because there's a kink in it right there, but it's just got to make it through 5 races. I put 1/2-inch pipe stanchions off the little corners, and hopefully that'll stop it, or at least slow it down from completely folding up again. That would be nice. So it's patched, but since I have to edit my video that you've probably already seen, I have to get out of here for the day. At least we got that knocked out. Now we can start working on suspension work and other things. So I'm just taking a look at it, seeing if I need to add anything else to the list, and I'll catch you guys whenever I'm back. Okay, it's early o'clock the next morning. I just tried to pull an air conditioner out of my basement that's probably been sitting there for years. And all it did was spray mouse junk all over the place. And didn't work, because I tried to just replace that. Nope. So it's in the junk pile, and this one will join it. And even though it's like late August and this won't matter in like 2 weeks, we'll bother with this next summer. But I have other more pressing issues to attend to, meaning getting this car to be fast again. So I have to dive in here, pull all the wheels off, get everything apart, pull the front end apart, redo the whole front end, pull the back end apart, redo the whole back end, and see what we can get done before I don't have a watch, before Tuesday. See what we can get done, because I hopefully will be doing more setup stuff Tuesday-ish, something like that. So you'll have to pardon me. It is very early, and I barely had time to go get Duncan, and I got a lot to do, so bear with me. We're also going to pull apart these hubs and get some holes drilled in them. I got my drill bits over here because I was tinkering around with trying to, I don't know, make a mount for an air conditioner that didn't work, so that was really worth my time. But I got the drills out already, so as soon as I get that hub off, I can stick it on this parts washer table. Well, it's now a table. It'll be a parts washer again. Drill the holes in those hub caps, which, yes, they are actually hub caps because they cap the hubs. And we can get that problem hopefully resolved. I mean, that's kind of the only thing I've been thinking of, why it's blowing the seal out, but we'll just rub more grease in it and hope for the best on those too. Also, you know, I've been having really dumb ideas. You know how my old frame saver and front section is bent? Well, I was thinking of taking a Sawzall and hacking it right down the middle of both bars, taking a Porta-Power, sticking it here, cross through here to there, and seeing if I could just push it back straight just to have a spare. Probably a dumb idea, but I think it's worth trying. Setup number 3 is actually going pretty well so far. I usually don't, well, actually I do work today. Today's Sunday. I used to never work on the cars on Sunday, but now I've started doing it like in the mornings really early. Anyway, we got new springs put back in the front, and I played with the adjusters just kind of by intuition, which we know that's pretty good. But we got it pretty close to a point where it's like, okay, I can actually count turns on either side to figure out what's going to be pretty good. Then we got to go to the back, change the rear springs in that, and put shocks in that, because I'm not happy with the ones that are in there. They don't feel like they really do much of anything, so we're just going to swap them out and try that. But that's pretty much all the time I have for today. I only allot myself to work until noon, and then I got to get out of here. So I got to get out, go do stuff, otherwise see family and keep that going. So I will see you guys tomorrow. You know, it's actually later than the same day. I changed my shirt, came back out here when I got home. I had a couple hours to spare, so I'm in the shop. And considering our performance over the last few weeks, and the whole season, to be honest with you, I'm unhappy with it. So we're going to go through the car on every given opportunity at every single moment that I have, and we're going to make sure that we get this thing right somehow, some way, whether it be me fixing it or trying things or learning something. Again, I've been in this game for 26 years doing this with largely the same car the entire time. Not this one specifically, obviously, but same basic division, no matter how much it's evolved or changed. So, the thing is about that, I was never really the setup guy. I was the mechanic, I was the worker, I was the crew. Then I owned my own car, and I started doing that, and it was a mini stock, which was a 4-cylinder, and then I started into these less than 10 years ago, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't learned a lot. I've tried a bunch of stuff and been quick, and there's a lot to learn still, and I'm still kind of figuring stuff out, and that's what we're doing. So that's why we did so poorly last week was, you know what? Sometimes, like I said, the beaker explodes in your face, and sometimes you make WD-40. Last week it exploded in our face. So we're going back to WD-40, and I got to get back to work on this back end of the car. I'm just trying to get as much done as humanly possible before any help arrives, and we can get the car massaged into place, because there's a lot of specific things that I want that we just haven't done yet, and we're going back to reliable. Back up in the air. I had it down. I didn't show you that on the video. I forgot about that. But I had it down so that I could check ride heights after moving some stuff around in the back and replacing springs and shocks and stuff. I'm trying some older stuff just to see how it works. I went in the front here and I put a couple of turns in each side, or took some out, put some in, stuff like that. And it was close. Now I got it a little bit closer. So we're at the point where I'm not going to touch it again until we scale it. Once we get it scaled, then we can at least start really finessing numbers, because we could change the ride heights based on what the scales tell us, and then we can go from there. But we got to get it on pads first. Now, the reason that this car is being worked on so early in the week with just ride heights and setup in mind is because I'm really tired of going to the racetrack with a close enough setup. We're not doing that. I can't. We've been getting too comfortable with mediocrity, and it's just annoying. I'm really sick of showing up at the racetrack and saying, I hope this works. I need to know that it works or not. I need to have the numbers where I want. I need to have the scale where I want. I want the specific springs. I want these specific shocks. I want all this stuff to be in the car, and I want the numbers to be correct, not close enough. So, it's only Sunday, and this thing, minus the maintenance items, is pretty much ready to go down and have it finalized on scales. I said that we got to finish the ride heights with the scales, because when you look at the scales, you say, okay, I got to make XYZ adjustments to make sure that we get the right numbers on the scales. But then you got to correlate that with the ride height and make sure that everything comes out properly with arm angles and trailing arm stuff and weight and all sorts of fun stuff that just, don't you enjoy this type of thing? I do. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night. And I'm going to hopefully be back out here for a little bit more massaging, or just a little general maintenance tomorrow. Maybe I'll stop at the auto parts store, pick up some oil, change that, do the little mini maintenance items before we maybe have this thing on scales on Tuesday. So at least we're gonna afford ourselves a few days to get this thing right. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, back in the shop, next day. I've got to get this car on the ground, check ride heights. Actually, I want to put it on scales, really. I want to put it on ride height blocks, and I want to get the ride height as close as humanly possible by using the scales to get it right. I have oil and other maintenance supplies coming. As you can see down here, I've got about 15 oil filters, but I don't have any oil to use it with. But thanks to the magic of Amazon, I can buy 3 5-quart jugs of Valvoline's VR1, which is actually pretty good. Ain't gonna hurt nothing to use it, for like 80 bucks. It's like 15 quarts of that stuff for 80 bucks. That's actually an exceptional deal. So if you need it, check that out. Otherwise, we have to get the car down on something, anything. I think I'm just gonna put them on pads, because if I put it on the scale pads, I can just look at the scales and be like, that looks pretty close. I need to adjust this, that, in the other corner, jack it up, do it, and then throw it back on the pads. It's not gonna be a huge deal. But I'm talking fast because I don't have a hell of a lot of time to get this done before I have to get out of here today. So, first things first, on the pads. So, that didn't take long at all. I'm kind of lost for words. These are all the tires and stuff that I raced with last race. They're pretty dang close to what we need and what we're going to be running anyway, because thankfully tire sizes have been pretty consistent, even though the chalk marks you can't trust because they're definitely wrong. But if you buy a specific size tire, they are usually about the same size. But after putting all of the new springs in, they're all different rates, different heights, different things like that. In the front, sides, rear, new shocks and everything, I kind of eyeballed some ride heights that I said, all right, this is kind of what I want it to be. Stuffed it on scales real fast, and we were like 0.5% off. That's it. It was like 2 rounds of wedge, done. So I got to move a little bit of lead. We're going to try a little bit of different thinking there, especially with the setup that we're going to run. It does make sense physically and mentally. It's just that we haven't run it specifically in this car. I've run it in other cars, but I haven't run it specifically in this car. So I got to put this thing up in the air, pull the tires off the front and the back, get the bolts out, and just start sliding lead around and taking the pieces that hold it in and swap them around. And that's all right. I got the scales out so that'll make my life a little bit easier. And that's pretty much the only adjustment I have left to make besides doing maintenance items. So I don't know if it's like divine intervention or something, but like putting this setup in the car and just eyeballing it and having it be almost dead nuts on the scales was pretty awesome. I'm not even gonna lie, it was pretty great. Like I said, I've been experimenting. After we won the race that earlier this year, within the first 5 races, I said, all right, well, I'd really like to start trying stuff to learn. I know that this specific setup I won with works, but here's the downside to it. Let's see if we can develop something that has the upside to it. And we tried, and it was decent. We got a couple of top 5 finishes in a row, and then I tried something else that I thought would work, and it just didn't because, well, I'd never tried it before, and nobody would tell me because nobody tells me a heck of a lot about setup that's anything useful. Usually they'll give you a little breadcrumb and then, send you on your way. So it half works, but the stuff that they figured out, they're not giving it away because it's proprietary. And if I shared that with you guys, guess who would be slow? Both of us. So, anyway, I'm going to go move that lead around. I don't think you guys care to watch that. It's just going to be me with a heavy pry bar jamming lead down a frame rail just to try to move it somewhere, and I'll be back when I'm done. Okay, I'm ready for tomorrow, I guess. Car came out pretty well. Not going to complain too much. The only thing we've been playing with now is weight percentages, front and rear. And I'm at a crossroads right now because I don't think I have enough for what we want to try. But I also kind of am running out of provisions for that. So we'll have to put our heads together and figure something out tomorrow. But that's a tomorrow problem. Excuse the fan noise, but it is the next day. It's actually kind of late the next day. It's actually afternoon. I did talk to my chassis builder, Zach, at MLZ Fab. He came over and we talked shop for quite a bit about setup and what to do next and what to try next. And I think it was pretty constructive. And we came up with some good ideas, and I think I'm going to enact them. And that involves a lot of lead moving. Now, that kind of is a little bit of a pain, but this is the exact reason why I did this so early in the week. It's Tuesday. We don't race till Friday. That leaves me a few days to have this thing in the air and moved. So we're going to get this thing back in the air and taken apart a little bit because we got to take some bolts out, got to take some tires off. Might have to drop the drive shaft in order to move some lead because there's a couple of rails around here on these tube cars where it's a little bit in the way. So we're going to have to do that. And we're going to try some stuff and see how it lands on the scales. And hopefully we can get a lot of that done today. I've also been busy doing other stuff. I got my brother's Porta-Power out because it was the most accessible one. And I decided to cut this thing apart and see if we could straighten it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sitting here looking at it. It actually, I think, is over square on that side. And I think it's over square on that side. So I wonder what happens. I've had it tensioned up for a bit and I pushed past it. So there, that's off. Wow. That's really close to square, and I'm trying to square it off the middle pipe here. It looks pretty close. I mean, I might be able to reuse that clip section and put a new bumper on it. I don't know, anything I can do to make my life a little easier and a lot less fabrication and a lot less spending money will be perfect. I also found some casters. I must have bought the wrong ones because they look a little small. Those look like 4-inch. I think those are 3-inch. But that's okay. I'll be able to move it around. And they definitely don't have the right flange on them because I had to put 2 self-tappers in it instead of using the bolt holes like the old ones. Whatever. At least now I can fold it up and get it out of the way. And I've been cleaning up around here and picking up any little piece of garbage or trash or whatever I could find. So, busy days. All right, everything came out pretty well. I didn't film nothing because loading and moving lead in a car is really boring. And all I did was basically do that, roll it on scales one more time and say, okay, I need to do this half turn here. That was pretty much it. So it's weird. Right now, it's kind of weird. It's Tuesday. We don't race until this many days later, and it's already scaled. Now, obviously, that's not done. I'm looking at the board here. Oh yeah, I got to do that. There's a few things I still have to do. So clearly, we're not done. I just wanted to get this out of the way in case it took a little longer than what it did. Right now, seems to be all right. So I might play around with alignment, making sure it's strung straight, playing with whatever I can find. But there are a few things I got to fix. I was accidentally trying to move lead by hammering something into the lead rail to try to move it because, get a few bricks of lead. It's kind of heavy. Moving 100 pounds is not easy. So I was using a hammer on the right front and I swung it underneath the control arm and knocked the grease zerk off the lower ball joint. So I have to go grab the one out of the bent ball joint in my other lower and swap them out so that I can, grease the ball joint when necessary. Plus, I'll probably end up greasing it anyway. But for today, I don't think I'm going to do anything else because the amount of work that I have left, oil change, grease fitting, put a power valve in the carb and clean it out, really not a lot to do here. So I'm just going to call it for the day. My wife just got home from a very long trip that she took over 2 days to do a round trip thing. I'm just going to go say hi and hang out with them. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Next day, basically all I'm going to do is maintenance. I'm going to pull the carburetor apart, change the power valve in it, take a bottle of carb cleaner and shoot it through there with the straw, clean it out. Just doesn't seem to be running very nice. You know, it kind of burbles and stuff under caution. I think I got it set up bad. That's all. I don't think I'm doing the right thing here. So it might be a little rich. I mean, we did change fuel and it might not like it. So it might be a little rich, but I pulled the plugs out and they're actually clean. So it's either one of two things. It's lean, which definitely not, or it's washing the cylinders down with, because it's so fat, like it's so rich. I'm going to pull all the spark plugs out, take a look anyway, just to be safe, but we'll see. And I'm fairly certain it's running on all 8, but I'll also take a temp gauge, like a little laser pointer thinger, and put it at every single cylinder on the headers just to make sure they're firing properly. And then I might pull the valve covers off of it. I got to do an oil change anyway. Make sure all the rockers are set properly. Put a grease gun to it. Like I said, today is going to be a little bit of low-key, low-maintenance day. I'd be lying if I told you that I've had the greatest time racing this year. Just hasn't felt the same. Again, I came from racing at Thompson. Thompson's a bigger track, a lot more banking, and a lot more opportunity for 2-lane racing and, you know, maybe some side-by-side stuff. But I love that place to death. And God, I wish the rules would change so I could come back. But since that's probably not the case, I'm likely just going to put this car in the trailer at the end of this season and just take a year off and maybe take a lot of time for myself. And I don't know what the YouTube channel is going to look like either. It's because when I'm racing, it's easy for me to put content out once a week, and it's easy for me to do stuff. But like when I'm not racing, I don't really have the money or the backing or the funding or anything to really kind of do anything else, like streetcar wise. Like you see all these other YouTube channels, like they go out and they'll find a car and they'll, oh, I found this thing in the woods and I got it running and I'll bring it back. And I would absolutely kill to do that because I love doing that sort of thing. The problem is I can't take a second mortgage out of my house and take a gamble on myself in order to go out and buy these projects and turn them around and flip them in the hopes that I become an internet sensation and my YouTube channel takes off. A little bit of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it foreshadowing, but I'd call it, there's a little peek into the future for you. So I got a list of things to do. Let's get to it. I bought oil. It's on the floor though, because I was carrying it while carrying something else and the handle ripped out. I hope it's not leaking. But I bought 3 5-quart jugs of VR1 because it's so much cheaper to buy on Amazon than it is anywhere else. So that's why I do it. I think 15 quarts of this is $80. And if you get it anywhere else, it's like $8 to $10 a quart. So you do the math on that one. It's a better deal. So I got to looking at her and I kind of went and played with the carburetor a little bit just to get her to run right again. And it seemed to be pretty good. So I think all we're really at right now is setting tow and stuffing it in the trailer. But I was playing with alignment as well just to make sure everything was straight. Not quite sure how to check it without stringing it. So been looking at it, just kind of eyeballing stuff. Not really too pleased either. I was looking at the front end of the car. I'm kind of thinking that the frame horns from the buckets forward are possibly kicked over to the passenger side because of that hard hit we had that ruined that. And when I came to the back, clearly, I mean, the rear clips had enough in this car already. And when we caved the rear bumper in, 2 or 3 times because people don't know what a brake pedal is, I'm pretty sure the frame from the spring buckets down to the back and all the supports and stuff, I'm pretty sure the whole thing's bent. So when people ask me, it's like, why are you tired of racing already? It's only been a few races. Well, you build a brand new race car, and through no fault of your own, front, rear, sides, everything is just kind of destroyed on it, and now it has to go back to the frame shop in the off season and have everything done because the talent pool is rather dry. So that's just kind of irritating, I was thinking about just taking my old car, putting an old body back on it and using it as a sledgehammer, but I guess I'm not that way. So I'm going to keep at it for a few more minutes, but for the most part, I'm pretty much done here. I've done enough work to this thing off camera that you guys probably don't care about. Like, I was greasing things and like cleaning things and like, it's just dumb, stupid work that is really bad to film. So I'll be back tomorrow. We got to do the last little bits of alignment and geometry and stuff, and then stick it in the trailer, and hopefully better times come Friday. Okay, it's the next day, and I kind of have to hurry because I found something late yesterday where I was a little bit concerned about the alignment of the car, and I'm worried that the right rear is not pointed in the direction that it should be. Matter of fact, I'm going to come over here and kind of eyeball what is straight on the chassis and like eyeball the left rear. Even that doesn't look very straight either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the toe of the rear end to make sure that it's actually straight. And then after that, I'm going to string the car or use some other means of aligning it. I have a few weird ideas that may be a little out of left field, but for me, that's usually where I lie. And we're going to figure out if the damn alignment's out. But I got a problem first. This is the tire I'm going to use on the car. Now, the interesting thing is, you look at it and it's like, it looks pretty good, right? The tire's fine. It's the wheel that's the problem. This lip from here until about here, right there, on this edge is bent. So I don't know if, and I know the wheel's fine, like it's just the lip, but I don't know if that's really throwing me off or not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a straight wheel in this pile here. That's about the same size. They're all about the same size. I'm not putting it on scales, so I just need to align it. I'm gonna find a straight wheel, swap it out. I might have to drill holes in the body to string the car, just to make sure it's straight. And we're gonna string off the chassis. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this thing comes out okay. And by okay, I mean, well, if the toe comes out essentially straight, then we can work on just kind of aligning it. And there's provisions in our rule book that allows us to align these cars by making adjustments, okay? So I know that's kind of dancing around it, but if you read the rules and if you're a competitor, you can read it, it's fine. But I'm gonna have to make adjustments to try to get it to align properly, but also retain some of the wheelbase, I guess you could say. So we can't go over the wheelbase minimum, but we do have to get it aligned. And that's not gonna be fun by any stretch of the imagination. So it's gonna involve fire. So I bought this Amazon special laser level, and it's like self-leveling. What it'll do is if you hang it somewhere, it'll literally just sit there and find its own level. Like if you bump it, you'll see it wiggle until it levels back off. And it'll work up to a certain amount of degrees before it can't level anymore. And then it'll just flash at you saying, hey, you're dumb, you can't level this way. So instead of me grabbing jack stands and strings and stuff, I just shined this thing down the car because it projects. It's not just a straight dot. It projects a line down and it sweeps up as well. So whatever that laser line is going to be wherever I measure. So I put this toe plate up and I kind of just held it against it with my foot, kind of like this, just to make sure it didn't move and there's no slop in it. This wheel was the straightest looking one I could find, even with the tire that's on it. And I took the laser and I measured it off the chassis. So I drilled 2 holes in the body, front and rear, which I'll cover up with duct tape. And I shined it on there and I moved this until basically the line here and at the front was exactly the same. The measurement was the same, right? So if I measured in and I saw a line on my tape measure from the laser, say it was like 13 and 13/16 or something like that. If it was the same at the front, that means that that line is completely parallel with the chassis of the car. So now we can align the wheels off of that. So again, I took my plate and I took my tape measure and I just kind of put it on, measured it at the back side with my foot hanging on it. And I had to tilt it because in order for that thing to project the laser, I had to tilt it. So I'd read whatever it said, and then I'd move it, and I'd read it again, and it would tell me a number, right? Unfortunately, that number was not the same. And really unfortunately, it was a 1/4 inch off. So I'm like, oh boy. So the rear end's not straight in the car. Now again, I'm using a stock rear. Of course, I got my 9-inch that's brand new and straight sitting right here. I'm using a stock rear, and if you have any sort of old factory parts, things can be bent. Grandma goes to the grocery store back in 1989, hits the train tracks too hard, oops, it pulled the lower out or whatever the hell happened, ruined a wheel or something. So it might have a bent lower receiver in it. So just things tend to happen, right? So what I'll do is, within the rules, I'm going to try to make it so that this thing is straight again. And if we can get the damn thing aligned properly, then we can actually get somewhere with the setup. And remember, we didn't win with this rear. We won with the new rear, which was brand new and straight. So the only reason I'm running this rear is, yeah, it's a little lighter. Yeah, it's whatever. But it's also got different gears in it. And it's the second gear set that you're allowed to run by the rules. Therefore, we're trying it out. I kind of like it, but at the same time, not really seeing the performance difference. So, and not like I'm going to go jumping right back into this one, but I do want to see if I can make it work. So now comes the time where I need to find headphones and some kind of eye protection, because this is going to get ugly. Okay, we're getting closer. I got her to within 1/8 of an inch. I want to see if I can get her straight. And once I get it straight on this side, I might go and set it up on the other side just to see what it is, because that's due diligence. And if I don't do that, I'd probably be an idiot, which, let's be honest, we could go either way on. So I'm going to get this one just right, see what the other side says, finagle the number in between, and hope for the best. Guys, I am never using strings again. This is so much better. And this thing is not that expensive on Amazon. And trust me, it works. I actually did stuff in my house with it, like, I don't know, hang a TV mount or something. It works. So you can see the laser line. I measure off of, well, I drilled 2 giant holes in the body so that my Stanley Fat Max tape measure, which has gone missing, here it is, with the really wide mouth on it, can fit through. Shine your laser down the side of the car. And like I said, they're like 35 bucks. They're really not that much. I put it on a little tripod for my video editing, like one of these guys, so I can stick my phone or a camera or something in it and do selfie mode or tripod mode or wrap it around something mode. I'm not advertising this stuff, but put it in a little mount, run it down the car, run your tape measure at the rear and the front. Like I said before, make sure both measurements are exactly the same. And like I said, see, look, my hand is way up here. That thing is way down there. I got a laser line on it. Just watch your eyes. But measure off those lines. Make sure that they're even. And then measure your tires and string it off of that. This side is straight. It is exactly 0. That side over there says that it's out 1/8 of an inch. But if you remember, when we put this straight wheel on, we did the toe, and it said it was towed out a little bit like 1/8 of an inch. I don't think I said that on the video, though. So if I didn't say that, now you know. It was a 16th. I think we hit something. Might be an 1/8 inch towed out. These rear ends are very weak. They're fragile, very fragile. So if that's true, I'm thinking about just finalizing these adjustments right here and now. That way, this is as straight in the car as it can possibly be in its current form. That makes me happy. You know, I went down the left side. This tire's straight. The rim is straight, doesn't wobble. I put a straight rim on the right side, and now it's set to straight with whatever toe out the rear end has. So I'd say that's as straight as it's gonna be. I want the rear straight though. So I think after this week, we're gonna have to pull the rear out and make sure that we wrap a chain in a porta power and make sure it's straight, because I don't want the car weaving, wobbling, rear steering, doing funky things. I want the rear straight, and I don't want any nonsense. So square it up, send it. In case y'all were wondering what kind of Chinesium Amazon laser level I'm using, Moto Vera LLT2. Okay, so I went through my Amazon purchases and looked at when I bought this thing. It was April of 2023. I used it to level the scale pads that the car is actually sitting on right now. And it is $26. Like I said, if I find a deal, I'll pass it on to you guys anytime. And that thing helped a ton. And I bet you the tripod was like $5. So these things are still cheap. So get these tools if you want them, because they help a lot with setup. Trust me. Okay, another week in the box, another dust storm in the garage. Hopefully, fingers crossed, as I turn my dehumidifier back on, we can kind of get off that train. You know, the struggle bus has been out of the station for way too long, and I'm pretty done with it. I really think that this, going back to a setup where I've run it, I've won with it, maybe not in this car, but I've got a lot of familiarity with it. Hopefully will be the ticket to putting us back on track. And boy, you know, it'd be the perfect week to fall back in love with racing again. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. By the way, no heat races. A little easier filming for me and a little easier on the old race car as well. So I'm gonna go out there and take 2 practices, get a feel for it, break in some new tires, and hope for the best. See you tomorrow. Cool. Another week. Sunny out now, but it rained the entire ride up here. Everything up here is wet, but with the sun being out, it should dry up really quickly, and I don't really foresee a delay unless we get some pop-up showers or something that happens later, but we'll see what happens. Forecast looks fine for the most part. Ooh, tomatoes and corn. Right. Back for yet another week. After today, 4 to go. Why do I always have to pee right when I get here and it's really bumpy? That's always the worst. Practice report. On number, we were decently quick in the second practice, but the car's tight. However, if you can hear me, that came out of absolutely nowhere. There was nothing on the radar, and boom, we got hit, and it is pouring rain. Absolutely pouring right now, so, which is weird because, like I said, there's nothing on the radar. I don't know if you can hear me again. But golly, it is absolutely drenching out here. I did try to put my car cover on. It didn't quite fit. Oh, there we go. Now it's slowing down. Good, because I got to go to the bathroom. So I just had both practice sessions, and we have no heat races. So wherever we are, but at least we practiced on a green racetrack, and now it's a green racetrack again. Car's still tight though, I'll fix it. We'll try some stuff. Well, apparently we canceled because there might be another band coming through later, and this is really kind of putting a damper on the schedule. That sucks because that was not on the radar. You can't blame the track for that one. And this one hasn't even stopped yet, so that's how it goes sometimes though. But we did get a couple of good practice sessions in. We got a good read on it, so sorry about the noise again. I'm gonna load up and get out of here. Oh sure, hit us with that on the way out. Thanks. Well, we might have got wet and the sun might be coming out, but we learned a lot. And second practice, we were actually decently quick. We were like 4th fastest for once, so. And this is easily fixable. I'll just go back through my notebook, put in it what we used to have. Can you tell I'm just leaving the track right now? There's another band coming. Never mind the rain or the sun. There's another one coming, so they already pulled the plug. Besides, everything's flooded, so see you guys back at the shop. Well, we didn't race, and we really could have used that race, especially for like points and another opportunity to try to win a race, but you can't control the weather, and people can criticize tracks and they can criticize whatever if they want to, but when I went up there, there was nothing in the forecast and there was nothing on the radar. And more than a handful of times we've had this happen where we get up there and we try to get it in, and it just doesn't happen. The weather comes and ruins our day. But what are you going to do about it? Complain, whine, place blame? Where does that really get us in the world? It doesn't really get us anywhere. It's just a contest of everybody trying to be the one who's correct, and who does that really help? Helps your own ego maybe, but it doesn't help the situation at all. Maybe just, I don't know, sit back and just accept that a lot of times in life, things just don't go the way you want them to, through no fault of your own or anyone else's. Things just happen. And you know what else is kind of funny? I'm going to wrap this video up here, but you know what's kind of funny? I know I've said a lot about taking a year off and all these things, and I think I'm probably going to next year, just for sanity and financial sake. But I don't think we're done. I don't think we're done racing. I still think that we have something left. You know, I feel like we still have something left to give. And I still feel like there's opportunities that we haven't completed yet in my career and in all of racing. And when you're doing well, it's real easy to hang in there. But when you're not, the reasons pile up pretty quick. So anyway, we got a lot to do on the car. Even if we didn't race, we still have a lot to do. From what I felt in the car during practice, we got a lot of adjustments to make. And so the car will go back on scales. I put 2 brand new tires on it and ran 2 practice sessions, so they are broken in. I can gain a lot of data from the sidewalls about what the tire pressures and everything look like, and see if the things are falling or rolling over or whatever I'm trying to say here. I don't know, but with the alignment stuff that I had going on with the car, which, by the way, speaking of alignment, I checked the toe in the garage here. I don't know if I put that on camera. Probably not. I probably forgot. But I put my toe plates up, which are over here in this corner, which I'll show you. If you're a racer, you know what toe plates are. 2 plates, 1 on each side, 2 tape measures. You can see 2 of the same brand tape measures. And you measure the distance between the car, front and rear of the tire. You can measure your toe that way. Simple, right? No, apparently not simple, because I checked it in here and I adjusted it to be what I want it to be, right? Well, I get to the track, I go out on the racetrack, I turn the wheel, and oh my God, the thing just is a pile of mush. Just wandering all over. I'm like, what is wrong with this car? It cannot be the setup. This is not the setup's fault. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Get the car back. I checked the toe after first practice. It was 3/4 of an inch out. Okay. Did not check them with the bars or with the plates. I have my own homemade trammel bar that I use that is absolutely bulletproof. I have a system of doing it and it's never let me down. 3/4 of an inch off. And you could stand back and kind of eyeball the car and it was absolutely correct. You were totally off. I'm like, we are never using those frickin' plates again. No way. We can't go to a racetrack trying to be prepared and be 3/4 of an inch off on toe. Nope. So I think if we're gonna measure the rear end for straightness, I'm not gonna use those plates either. I'm gonna use my bar. So that's on the list. Anyway, so I guess I will put that on the list. Rear end straighten on the list. With the alignment changes, I think we have to change our overall cross number because it feels like the car, like the rear end was kicked over so that it was rear steering a lot going in. So I might have been compensating with extra cross weight to try to get the thing to stop being loose all the time. Now that the rear end's in the car kind of straight, I noticed that it is a lot tighter than it used to be at a cross weight that I used to use a lot, and all the other setup components put together as well. So it's like, okay, we gained a lot of data. It's just too bad we didn't get to race it. We were making adjustments, but Mother Nature said otherwise. So I'll catch you guys next week. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to go back through it again. We got 4 weeks left. Well, I think 4 weeks now. Anyway, hopefully we can get another win in that time. That would really be nice to just close the season out after all the frustration mid-season and stress and nonsense. To get another trophy, that would be phenomenal. I don't know. Things just kind of happen, but if you know anybody who might be interested in this type of thing, please send them my way. A subscribe here and there helps me so much with the algorithm. You have no idea. Thank you guys again. I greatly appreciate it. Until next time.